If you're a content creator of any kind, then no doubt you have seen people raving about this camera. Back in the summer, it was sold out everywhere, but finally in October, I got my hands on one and I have been putting it to the test ever since. People are truly obsessed with this camera, and look, I get it. It's small and compact and cute. It provides great stabilization with its built-in gimbal, and probably most importantly, it promises to make vlogging feel less awkward. It's just so discreet. You definitely can't argue with that. But does it live up to the hype? Is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 still worth it in 2025? I want to break down all of the pros and cons of this camera and answer honestly. Do you need to buy the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 as a content creator or vlogger in 2025? But first, I just want to say this video is not sponsored by DJI. I have worked with them on content about other products, but they have no connection to this video. And if they did, honestly, they probably wouldn't be that happy about it because I'm going to share some of the stuff that I don't like about this camera as well as the good parts. That being said though, this video does have a sponsor, and that's Storyblocks. We'll talk more about them later. Okay, first let's talk about the results that you can get from this camera, and then after we tackle that, we'll discuss the process for how to get those results. Like, how easy is it to use this camera? And then finally at the end, I'm gonna give you some recommendations and talk about who this camera is really best for, and ultimately decide if you should buy it. There's no denying it, the video quality that comes out of this little camera is pretty darn good. It really ticks all of the technical boxes. We can film at 4K from 24 frames per second all the way up to 120 frames per second for your slow-mo. Basically, this means that all of your footage is gonna be crisp and clean, whether it's your regular clips all the way up to your slow motion cinematic clips. However, with this camera being so compact, it also means that it comes with quite a small sensor and a fairly basic lens, in my opinion. So what you're not gonna get is that super cinematic, shallow depth of field, aka a blurry background. Also, you get one focal length. You are able to zoom in with the Osmo Pocket 3. At 4K, you can zoom in by 2 times. However, it is just a digital zoom, which basically means we're taking that image and we're pretty much just cropping in to get closer. Another downside of this single lens, in my opinion, is that it's not very wide and therefore not super great for vlogging, which is like the whole purpose of this camera. I just feel like when I hold this like a reasonable distance from my face, it just feels too close, like you can't see much of what's going on around me. So I have to really extend my arm if I want to get the kind of angle that I personally prefer for a vlog. So once I realized that, I actually picked up this little guy to try to fix the problem. This is a wide angle lens attachment for the Osmo. It just magnets on like this. I just got a third-party one. It's about 24 USD on Amazon. Now at first glance, when you attach this to the Osmo, you think, great, this solved my problem. I have a wider view. This is perfect. I don't have to hold it so far away from me anymore. However, when you take a closer look, it's actually quite blurry around the edges. Like if you look anywhere that's not in the immediate center of the frame, you really start to get this kind of like fuzziness where it just doesn't feel crisp. Like if you are close to the middle, that's when you're gonna have your best results, like right here. But even still, you can kind of see like it doesn't look as crisp as it would if I didn't have that wide angle lens attachment on. I just really feel like the edges of the frame are quite like distorted and like fuzzy and just not as sharp as you would want them to be. Once I realized this when we were vlogging in Japan, honestly, that is when I kind of stopped reaching for the Osmo to film because I realized I could get nicer looking results, at least when it comes to getting wide angle footage just using my iPhone's 0.5 lens. Now, I should say there is a legitimate DJI branded wide angle lens attachment for the Osmo. It's $40 US. I haven't tried that one, so I can't say for sure the quality, but at the end of the day, when you're using a little attachment like this, you're basically just putting another piece of glass in front of your lens, and that's just never gonna be as good of quality as just having a wide angle lens to begin with. Okay, another gripe that I have with this camera as it pertains to video quality. You know how I said at the beginning that you can film in 4K with this thing? Well, that is mostly true. You can film in 4K when you're filming horizontally, but not if you're filming vertical footage. Basically, if you do the iconic Osmo Pocket 3 thing and you flip the screen so that it's in vertical orientation, you'll see that the camera automatically switches from filming in 4K to filming in 3K. Not only is this quite a random resolution, it's like halfway between 1080p and 4K, it's also just annoying. I actually complained about this in an Instagram reel once, and I had somebody in the comments saying, no, you can get true 4K video on the Osmo Pocket 3. You just need to hold it like this. Let's be so for real right now. Who is going around filming like this with the Osmo? I just think that is such a cop-out because look, this device is so clearly designed for you to hold it like this. It literally is basically a handle with a tiny little camera on top, okay? It's meant to be held vertically. And in my opinion, there's just really no excuse for DJI to not have designed it so that you can shoot true vertical in 4K. Like, this little gimbal rotates the camera every other which way, so why couldn't it just rotate it to be vertical when you switch it over to vertical mode? I don't know what they were thinking with this. It feels a little bit lazy to me because I think, to me, it just seems like a really simple solution to have the camera rotate vertically when you want to be shooting vertically. Okay, let's take a break from complaining about the Osmo for a second to talk about something that I really love about this camera. DJI's wireless lav mics are my personal favorite microphones to use no matter what camera I'm filming with. I'm actually currently recording the audio for this video with the DJI Mic 2s. These are like some of my favorite mics. But what I think is the perfect pairing with the Osmo Pocket 3 is actually DJI's Mic Minis. I used these the entire time we were travel vlogging through Japan, and they're really incredible. Everything fits in one little box. And what's perfect about the Osmo is you can pair these tiny little microphones with the Osmo without needing any additional receiver. If I want to record audio with these mics on my iPhone, for example, then I have to plug in the receiver to my phone. But with the Osmo, I don't even need that. I can just pair it directly to the Osmo Pocket 3, and then I've got perfect audio. Now, in case you're not quite ready to invest in the DJI mics in addition to the Osmo, this is what the audio straight out of the Osmo sounds like. I've got no microphones attached here. This is just the built-in microphone on the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and what the audio sounds like. And here's what it sounds like when I have my DJI Mic Mini attached to the Osmo. Finally, when we're talking about video quality and the Osmo Pocket 3, we have to talk about stabilization. This is where the Osmo Pocket 3 really shines. You can get beautiful, stable footage even as you're walking around in your day-to-day life. In my opinion, this is one of the best use cases for the Osmo Pocket 3. And when you compare stabilized footage from the Osmo versus any other camera, like your iPhone or whatever it may be, the Osmo Pocket 3 is always gonna win. Which makes sense because this device is essentially a gimbal with a tiny little camera on top, so that's gonna be what it's best at. And as far as gimbals go in general, the Osmo Pocket 3 really has the advantage with its size. I'm a big fan of mobile gimbals. I like the ones from DJI and Insta360. It's a great way to get stable, high quality footage filming with your phone. But when you compare those phone gimbals with the Osmo Pocket 3, like, this is just so tiny and compact compared to that. All right, now let's talk about what it's actually like to use this camera. Because the thing is, a camera can provide amazing video quality, but if it's a pain in the butt to use, you're not gonna pick it up. To start us off, there are definitely a few obvious advantages, in my opinion, of filming with the Osmo Pocket 3. And this is ultimately why so many people love this camera. For one, this camera is incredibly light and compact. Depending on the kind of jeans you wear, it might just fit in your pocket, but for most of us, this is gonna fit in a nice small sling bag or your purse. And when you want to film in small spaces, which honestly is the story of my life, it's really easy to set up anywhere and it doesn't get in the way. For example, if I'm sitting in a coffee shop somewhere, because of the small form factor of this camera, it's kind of like it's got a built-in tripod. Right now I have the tripod leg attachment on, but even if you take it off, it can still stand on its own on a surface. Like, as long as you don't knock it over, like, it's okay. So I can simply set it on its base and put it on the table and film myself. Now, for vlogging around the house, I love that I can just set this up on my super slim iPhone tripod. Because it's such a light camera, the iPhone tripod can hold it just fine. And then I just leave it there. Then as I move around the house and do stuff throughout the day, I can just pick up that tripod and take it around with me. Of course, you could argue like I could have my phone on there and have a similar result, but that would mean that I don't have access to my phone that whole time, which arguably would be better for my mental health, but like a little bit less convenient. But if I have my Osmo sitting on that tripod when I want to film something, I can just walk over, press the record button to wake it up, press the record button again to start, and I'm filming a clip. This makes filming vlog clips around the house so easy. And if I'm honest, it's definitely preferable to setting up, say, one of my Sony cameras on a more sturdy tripod. Bigger cameras mean a bigger tripod, which means more space in my tiny apartment taken up by tripod legs. So having the Osmo just set up on a super slim like monopod tripod is so convenient. I will also say I kind of love how easy it is to set up top-down shots using the Osmo. Because it's already basically got this like built-in extension rod as part of the device, it means that when I tilt over my tripod head, I have the Osmo camera facing straight down, and it's like stuck out far enough from the tripod that you're not going to see the tripod legs as much. Now you do have to adjust the gimbal so it faces the same way, because that's one of the things that I noticed is like if you have the camera facing forward, as you start to tilt down the gimbal, the camera continues to face forward even though the gimbal is now like 90 degrees with the ground. So then you got to use the joystick and reposition it. Okay, so all of that stuff is really convenient. However, when it comes to actually framing your shots, this is where I start to get a little bit frustrated with it. If I'm totally honest with you, the gimbal part of this camera, which is honestly its main feature, is kind of more annoying to me than it is helpful, like most of the time. I'm literally so annoyed. This thing does not understand what it's doing. Like, I swear it shouldn't be this hard to frame stuff. Like, obviously it's great if you're moving around, if you're walking and you want stabilized footage. But when you're not doing that and you're just trying to frame up a stationary shot, I honestly find it kind of frustrating to have to use this tiny joystick to adjust the camera, rather than just, say, if I was filming with my phone, using my hands and the tripod to do so. Like, this is so intuitive. This is not as much. Also, when it comes to diving into some of the more manual settings, I find this a bit tedious. For example, I was filming a vlog last week where I was getting up in the morning and I wanted a shot of me getting out of bed. Now, because the Osmo was pretty good in low light, it was actually making my bedroom look way brighter than it looked to me in real life. And because the whole point of the scene was that I was waking up early in the morning, I wanted the room to look dim. To do that on my phone, all I would have to do is tap on the screen until I see that little sun icon, and then tap and drag it down to decrease my exposure. But to do the same thing on the Osmo, I need to swipe over to the right, tap on exposure, and then I can either leave it on auto and just decrease the exposure compensation, or I can swap to manual and then set my own shutter speed and ISO, because the aperture is fixed at f2.0, so you can just change shutter speed and ISO. I find this whole process just a lot faster and easier, especially when you're just trying to vlog and not do anything like super intense. You're like, I just want this room to look darker. Like, that is so much quicker on my iPhone than it is with all the steps I have to do on the Osmo. Okay, so another important consideration is the battery life. The battery life is advertised as 166 minutes of filming time, though of course it'll never be that good in real life. It's only noon. I've been filming since like 8:30 a.m. Not constantly, but the battery's already at like between half and a third is remaining. So not the longest battery life ever, I feel. It honestly wouldn't be that much of a problem if the Osmo just came with removable batteries. That way you could charge a few up and bring them along with you. But because you can't do that, it means you're gonna wanna have a battery bank so that you can charge up your Osmo on the go. I probably plugged it in around like 1:45 and it's now 2:11 and it's 100% charged. So it's not that long of a time to plug it in and wait. Okay, so I know throughout this video I've been comparing the Osmo Pocket 3 to filming on your phone quite a bit, because I feel like that's sort of the options for a lot of beginners. So I did just want to mention one key area where I think the Osmo definitely has the advantage over an iPhone, and that is with file storage. Honestly though, any camera that has an SD card is gonna have an advantage. With the Osmo Pocket 3, I can just simply eject the little micro SD card, put it into this adapter so that I can put it in the SD card slot in my MacBook. Then I can really easily click and drag the files over onto my external hard drive. With an iPhone, of course, you can airdrop your videos. That's not a big problem. But I think all of us have a lot more stuff on our camera roll than just the clips that we're looking to use in our YouTube videos. So you do have to sift through all kinds of screenshots, photos of like groceries you're trying to remember to buy. It's just a less organized and less streamlined experience. But whether you're filming with your iPhone or the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 or any other camera for that matter, chances are there's going to be times where you sit down to edit and you think, I really should have filmed more B-roll. And when that happens, Storyblocks is the perfect solution. Storyblocks is an online stock media library with a ton of high-quality visual assets for your videos. You can find stock footage, background music, animation templates, sound effects, and more. All of the content on Storyblocks is available for one consistent monthly subscription price. And with your subscription, you have full permission to use any of the assets you download there in your content on YouTube, so you don't have to worry about copyright strikes. It really is an all-in-one solution for creators because you can grab that background track that you need, you can find the perfect stock footage to use as B-roll, add some sound effects, and even incorporate some easy animations. All downloaded from the same place with one subscription. I have personally been a happy Storyblocks user for years now, and if you want to join me and check it out for yourself, then you can go to storyblocks.com/Katie. And thanks again to Storyblocks for sponsoring today's video. Okay, I feel like we finally need to address the main reason why everybody says they want to buy this camera and why I think it went so viral. The DJI Osmo Pocket 3 is supposed to be the perfect solution for shy vloggers. People really feel like this is gonna be their one and only solution to finally not feeling awkward about filming in public. But is this camera really the only thing standing between you and confidently filming yourself for your vlogs? Ultimately, this is always gonna be a subjective thing. For some people, the Osmo Pocket 3 is gonna be the game changer that they need to like not feel weird filming in public. For me though, like personally, it's pretty equal. I feel equally awkward filming with either of these. I actually feel like in some cases your phone is even more low-key because everybody always has a phone with them, and like a lot of people will have never seen one of these cameras before and they might be like, oh, that's interesting, what is that? And it might draw more notice than just simply filming with your phone. But it's gonna be up to each individual person, like what makes you feel more confident. With the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Osmo Pocket 3 out in the open, let's talk about who I think this camera would be the best for and what my recommendation is for you. First of all though, I just wanna say if you already own this camera and you use it all the time, I'm so happy for you. Please don't take my gripes and complaints to heart. If you love it and it works for you, that's great. But if you, like me, bought this camera because every content creator online was talking about it and you felt like you needed to try it out, and now you're feeling a little bit disappointed, just know you're not alone. I personally need to decide still if I'm gonna keep experimenting with this camera and trying to find ways that it can fit into my workflow, or if I just need to kind of let it go and either sell it or give it away to someone. But if you feel like you need to buy this camera because it is just gonna make vlogging so much easier for you and it's the one thing standing between you and being consistent and confident with filming yourself and ultimately growing your YouTube channel, then I'm honestly gonna encourage you not to buy it because I don't think that this is the perfect solution that you're looking for. Trust me, this camera is not what's standing between you and your success as a content creator. No camera or piece of gear is. You can start now and get really great results with just your phone or whatever camera you already have. If you're feeling excited about the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and you think despite the struggles or complaints that I described, it still might be a really great solution for you, then go for it. I didn't make this video because I want to convince you to never buy this camera. I just kind of felt like all of the reviews and content that I've seen about the Osmo Pocket 3 have been so overwhelmingly positive that I thought it might be helpful just to get another perspective and some of the limitations that I see with it. No matter what you choose to shoot your videos with, just remember that the gear that you have or don't have doesn't define you. Having a certain camera or accessory isn't gonna make or break your ability to be a successful creator. First, you need to find the motivation and the confidence within yourself to create. And then beyond that, you just need to find the right gear that works for you and makes creating feel easy for you. Maybe it will be the most popular vlogging camera of the year, or maybe it'll be something else. And either way, that is totally okay. I hope you found this overview of the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 helpful. Let me know in the comments if you would want to see more beginner-friendly, non-technical camera review videos from me. I know that I am not a tech reviewer by any stretch, and there are lots of people who have made videos about this camera and many other cameras in much more granular detail. But I think it's helpful to think about things from like the practical day-to-day perspective. So yes, let me know in the comments, and if you want to see more from me about my iPhone vlogging setup and more of the details of that gear, then you can check out this video next. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having adventures and following your dreams, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!